Coming straight out of Ecamm. This is a jam with the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam with the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam. This is a jam with the Ecamm fam. This is a jam with the Ecamm fam. This is a jam with the Ecamm fam. Ecamm fam is the name of the jam.
Hold it, stop the music!
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen.
Can I please have your attention?
Now showtime, are you ready? Are you ready for start time?
Let's find out. Ready, let's go.
Yay! What it do? We are back. We are back. We are back. Yes. Man, listen, this last couple of weeks of talking about backup and everything have been so incredible because for some reason, and I'm going to blame Christian, we have had so many power outages and storms in Honolulu in the last month, like 3 or 4 times. And we're normally good for hurricane season, maybe like 1 or 2. We don't really have the winter storms type of problem. That's why I moved here. And now ours aren't snow. But the winds have been like 50 billion miles an hour. There was a tornado in Kauai yesterday. Can't you figure that one out? It's been psycho. And so luckily, knowing that I have this backup has been phenomenal. Now, I've always been backed up, but now it got me wondering how many of our people have been triggered into like, hey, I need to get some backed up now, right? So, I don't know if you guys have a hookup to like, hey, let's scare the crap out of these people so they buy a backup. Because, it's been working. It's been working. Good job, Christian.
Yeah, it's just to test your backup strategy.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, I've turned it off now though because it's been nonstop here too. It's been like snow, rain.
Let it go.
Oh my gosh.
And you know what's really crazy is after the first episode, I realized I had forgot to when I moved my office around, I forgot to plug back in the USB for the UPS, and then so. I didn't, and then I said I was going to do it. I forgot like another week, and I actually got it in there now. Okay. And so now, like when it goes off, not only is that working, but I have it set, and we can maybe show you. There's a way to have it send you an email to let you know your machine's tripping, and if you have the ability to go do something like that. So that part is also kind of cherry. But yeah, it's like I think these guys are messing with us.
Doc, do you want to jump into that right away? That's something I don't think we covered that in any of the weeks, but we can look at notifications.
Okay.
That's a good one to cover. And we should say this is the 5th and final, I'm going to cry a little bit, final episode of this series. So if you haven't yet, if you're just jumping on now, you can definitely go back. We have the full playlist and all previous episodes available. But that doesn't mean that if you have a question, even if we've covered it before, drop it in now. This is the FAQ episode. So there are no dumb questions. There's no dumb questions. You're welcome to ask whatever you want. And we would love to know, too, if you're hanging out with us today, whether now or in the replay, so 2 questions for you. Did you before you started watching all of these episodes, did you know anything about Synology, or did you have this all set up beforehand? And now that you're on the other side of it, did you either make any changes or go out and like me, buy a new system as a result of it. We'd love to know kind of where you were at and where you are now. Hopefully everyone's feeling pretty good about it. I'm feeling like I can answer questions at parties. I'm going to be the person that's going to be like, oh no, I can tell you. I can tell you the details of all of this. I know like some of the acronyms now. I feel like I'm less of an idiot when Doc gets going. I'm like, oh yeah, no, I can keep up.
You know what's funny about it is once you get confidently backed up, you become the irritating person in your friend group, your family,
so
who
true.
gets on everybody else's ass about not being backed up. Yeah. I've been that person for a long time. And so welcome to the party. Welcome to this side of it, Case.
All right. Ob says that she's currently saving up. Yeah, definitely. That's great. This is a good time to be saving up for it.
100%.
And while you're doing that, Paul has a great question coming in too. So Paul says, when creating a file request or granting access to someone outside your organization, do you need to grant guest read-write access?
No. So that would be sort of covered within that file request, right? So if you are in File Station, right, that's the normal sort of folders, and you were to right-click, let's say, one of these random folders, and click share.
Let me create a folder.
You're going to create a new one, sure.
Because I don't want Paul messing with my stuff.
You don't want to give him access.
I get Paul Dunks, so I'm going to right click on that and then go down.
And then go to share.
Okay.
Yep. So, when you're doing this, as long as you are externally sharing it, so yeah, you click enable secure sharing right in that checkbox, and then you switch it to external. Or public, sorry. And then you can set a password for it and everything like that. So you don't have to give them read-write access, in order for them to have access to this. As long as they have this password, you're chilling. What you would need to do is if, let's say you're working with somebody regularly and you don't want to share things like this where they just download it, you want them to actually, mess with the files that are on the device.
Contribute to the file, yeah.
Exactly. If you are recording stuff and then you've got an editor or whatever, something along those lines, and you want them to constantly have access, then you would need to create a user or a group, call it editors or something like that. And then you would need to give them permissions to the file itself so that they can actually make changes to it.
All right, cool. So I just
Are there any like limits or rules around how many users you can have?
No, you're set. I'm sure there's some
organizations. Some of these organizations, you're talking thousands of users,
thousands,
especially
and thousands.
On the bigger boxes.
Yeah.
Oh, and look, here's another cool setting, real quick. You can specify the number of accesses allowed. So, they don't need to be in here too much. You can actually set it for 10 or something like that. So they
awesome.
Open up, drop a file, or whatever. So, Paul, I just put the link in publicly, and nobody said anything stupid because I will get you. There's the link, Paul, and the password is Ecamm fam. Try throw something in, maybe a picture from camp. Hopefully, nothing me drunk at camp. So just Actually, no, that was okay because Ken was with me, so we're good.
I found the number of maximum local users.
What? Come on, this is gonna be good.
16,000.
Good Lord.
I have 16,001 users. Now I'm screwed.
Damn. Wow.
And just to be clear, that it sounds like that's local users, right? So
yeah.
If you have an LDAP server, if you have a domain, right, where you keep all your permissions, you keep all your users, you should be able to connect to that no problem, and just use all the permissions, use all whatever you have set up for that already on the Synology device. So you don't have to worry about that.
Dude, that is super crazy. Man, I haven't heard LDAP in forever. Lightweight Directory Access Protocol. Old school.
Ooh, another
old
one.
School.
I got it.
Yeah, that was old school from when you're in college and you needed to use the computer lab, right? It says it's not letting you upload.
So I think what you did is I think you created a share link instead of a file request, Doc.
Oh, yeah.
So there's another one here. So if you cancel out of this, right click it again. And then do the very bottom one. Instead of share, you can create file request. Yep.
There
you go. Same idea.
Password protected. Ecamm fam. That's not my password for everything, people. Don't get psycho. All right. There you go. Here you go, P Dunks. Try this one.
I've got the limit of how many domain users you can have.
Ooh, fun facts today. All right.
2 million.
Whoa.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, listen, I wanted to, since we're here, I just sent this link to Paul, right? And I want you to see how I have this c50.myds.me. That domain was set up for me by Synology, and I'll show you this is important. If you want to have access to your box, right? So again, we're going to PodFest soon, and I might do an interview. I'm gonna say, hey, can you upload the results of this interview to this link, right? In here in the control panel, there is a section called external device. No, Chigao, that means wrong in Japanese. External access. There you go. Right here in here. You click this, and there is a DDNS. That's a dynamic DNS, because otherwise you have to know your IP address and a bunch of other things like that. So what happened is I have two. I have the one from no IP, right? As a matter of fact, Paul, try this. Try tatuna.ddns.me and in replace of the other domain and see what happens. Anyway, so it hits the IP address, and then it allows it to basically go in from there. So with your Synology, they actually, on your Synology account, Synology.com, you can set up a dynamic DNS. They have a bunch of different, like we do for guests. Like our guest one, you can pick any family DS or my DS, or you can get psycho and just make a real domain with your standard name.com and set that up as well. So it is possible to make it easy for you to get access. And don't forget to add Let's Encrypt if you really care. My stuff's encrypted otherwise, so I don't care. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. I love that fact.
Michael's got a question coming in. Michael asks, is there anything I might be missing out on by going with a 4-bay versus a 5-bay, specifically the DS923 Plus and the DS1522 Plus?
Yeah, I've got a device comparison actually pulled up right now. The first thing is you want to look at expandability. So if you want the option down the road to be able to expand, the 1522 can get up to a total of 15 drive bays through expansions, where you should be able to just get one expansion for the 923 to get you up to a total of 9 drives. Also, when we're looking at how much system memory it comes with on board, the 1522 has 8 gigs of RAM that it comes with standard, while the 923 comes with a 4 gig. Both of them do have a maximum memory capacity of 32 gigs, so you can expand them both out the same. But kind of the main thing you're looking at here is the expandability of the unit.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing that I'll mention, and so for anybody who's been with us all the way since the beginning, you know that Katie had the DS224 Plus, right? It's a 2-bay device. It can't really expand. It comes with, I think it's 2 1 gigabit, network connections. A lot of you are probably going to want to go sort of a couple steps up from that, up to the DS723 Plus, which is also a 2-bay, but it can expand, and you can add a 10 gigabit network connection, and it's got a better processor in there. So I know I'm saying a bunch of numbers at you, but stick with me for a second. So the next one sort of up from that is what Michael mentioned, which is the DS923 Plus. So it's got the same processor as that DS723 Plus. It can also expand to 10 gigabit, but it's got 4 drive bays, right? That gives you a lot more flexibility than you would in a 2-bay system. Yes, you can expand that 2-bay system with a 5-bay expansion, but really, I'm going to be honest with you, it's just easier to do it in one chassis, in one device. It's just nicer to be able to add a drive, say, hey, expand, and then you're set to go. But yeah, like Christian said, the difference between that 4-bay device, the DS923 Plus, and the DS1522 Plus, one of the big ones is that RAM, right? Going from 4 to 8 gigs of RAM, in addition to getting that one extra drive bay, it's only about $100 more if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
Going from a 4-bay to a 5-bay, and you get the extra RAM on top, just, as part of it, it sort of becomes a no-brainer if, it's still within your budget.
Yeah, and again, the RAM is going to really come in handy if you are moving large files or you have a multiple concurrent users. So, say you're working on it and maybe you have a partner that you work with that comes in to work, on projects with you as well. That's where the RAM really sort of kicks in. And when I was down here on the bottom, you notice like you can get 2,000 concurrent users on the 15, but the other ones is like 200 because it has to do with a lot of that RAM moving. But it's really cool. I like how they're building stuff. You notice, right, for the most part, you got the same processors all the way across the board. So they're not like pricing you out. Like you got to get a crappy processor because you're only going to start with like the 723. And again, Michael, in case you missed that episode, the front number is how big you can expand to. The back number is the year the device came. That's a word. The year the device came out. So, but from 22 to 23, if you're looking at the specs, there's no major hardware change. It's just a matter of rejiggering the lineup in order to pick up smaller creators or people newer to this mentality. Like the old school Synology stuff was always monster boxes with things like this that would just freak people out. So recently they got smart and started making boxes that will invite people like our community to not look at a 2422 and be like, good Lord, what the heck am I going to do with that? So that's why you'll see some of the smaller boxes with the 23 is just smart marketing, going after. Increasingly, everybody has a 256 plus, or like me, 2 1 terabyte phones. So now everybody needs a Synology. It used to be like only the handful of nerds, people building a Plex, setup in their house, or people that take a lot of photos. But now everybody needs a Synology. So good on them for making these new parts. So yeah, don't get panicked on the part numbers.
All right. Well, Paul is saying that the link is still not working. It's because he's from the mainland. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's probably some firewall stuff or some like port forwarding and stuff like that. So you just got to make sure that stuff is open in your own setups, basically. But yeah, that's just networking related stuff.
Okay. So
all right, Michael. Continuing on. Great.
Here's the challenge to your question, Michael. Yes, on the 1522, but not with that RJ45 connector. You're not. I edit 4K, 6. I can edit up to 8K on mine, but I have a 10 gig network card in my Synology, and my Mac Studio, my Mac Mini, my iMac. They all have 10 gig ports. I paid $100 extra to get the 10 gig ports. If you don't have the 10 gig ports, you can get an external box. They're made by a bunch of different people that will allow you access to 10 gigs. And then you're going to have to build a 10 gig route in your house, which means 10 gig switch and a bunch of other things. So you can do it, but trust me, it's not just the Synology and the 2 drives. You're going to have to go build a 10 gig network if you don't have one. I'm a nerd. I already had one. So,
along with that, I'll also mention one of the things that I'd recommend when you start getting into higher resolution, when you start getting into just things that are going to need more performance. The units that Doc has pulled up here in the comparison, all of those, this DS723 Plus, right, that 2 bay, the DS923 Plus, that 4 bay, and the DS1522 Plus, the 5 bay, they all have 2 M.2 NVMe slots.
Yes.
And
super
so
important.
you can add that in. That's going to increase your performance by a lot. By a lot, I'm telling you. And I believe in all of those. I'm pretty sure that you can create a volume on those drives, right? So that's not true for all of our devices, but for those newer ones, that is the case. So you can actually move your project over to those super fast SSDs, and then you can work off of them.
Yes.
And so Doc's showing
having to
these
change
network cards.
Because I don't have, so my box, I don't have where I can make the speed volume off of the two NVMe's. That's new, right? So
That is new.
What I'm end up probably doing is I want to switch my card from what's in there now to a card like this, because that would allow me to then put in the NV and SSD drives and make my performance even faster, because you're editing off the SSDs, and then when you stop doing stuff, it will move it over to the big box nice and safe. So super cool.
So I'll mention there's two different ways that you can set it up. For our newer devices, you can, like I said, use those SSDs for in a volume. With these network cards, I will mention that that is SSD cache only, right? So basically, it's storing the frequently accessed stuff on those SSDs, that specifically allowing you to create a volume, where you can actually store stuff permanently on those drives. That is just sort of restricted to those newer devices, like these three.
They start off in the 21 series and then goes to the 23 series. So like in the 21 series, some of the older devices that would support creating a M.2 SSD storage pool would be like the 1821 Plus, 1621 XS Plus, or the 1621 Plus.
Okay, oh, cool. We must have added that more recently. Yeah. So Doc,
I have 18,
you have a 21
Plus.
Yeah, you do. So you got lucky. There you go.
Yep. And then of course go in the 23 series, the DS423 Plus, the DS723 Plus, the DS923 Plus, and the DS1823 XS Plus.
Oh,
so
that's cool.
Jurgen is asking if the 1621 Plus is one of the quote unquote newer devices.
Yes, the DS1621 Plus does support the M.2 NVMe SSD storage pools.
Yeah.
All right, Michael's got a follow-up question here.
The 1621 Plus is basically the same as my box. Like the boxes are identical, just 2 extra holes.
Twins with dog.
Yeah, 2 extra drives. Yep.
So Michael's asking, what if I just put a 4 terabyte SSD drive in the drive instead and had 2 12 drives as well? Can it work from just the SD drive inside the Synology?
So you do want to install the operating system, most likely on your spinning disk. You get more redundancy. So what this is actually an interesting thing. So what Synology does when you're setting up your device is we take our operating system and we put it across all of your drives. So even if, let's say you've got a 5-bay device, right? We put it all the way across so that even if 4 of your drives dies, the operating system can still come up and it can your device can still boot. You might not have all of your data, right? There's redundancy involved in that and all that stuff, but you'll at least be able to boot up the device and see what's going on. The SSDs, you wouldn't. I don't believe you'd be able to work off of those only. I think you would need something in the drive base. But yeah, if you've got SSDs in that device and you've got your 2 12 terabyte drives, you'd be good to go.
Awesome.
Hopefully that answered the question.
I got Mark's question, so I'm pulling it up right now. He says, what can you do or cannot you do? I think that's how he worded it, with an available Synology account. So I'm gonna just log in real quick. I don't think I have anything hidden in there that's important.
Without a Synology account, Doc. Yeah. There's a negative there. Yeah.
Yeah. Why is my account at risk?
Warning.
I don't believe you will be able to fill out a support ticket. That's what kind of one of the big ones. If you ever have any issues, you gotta have a Synology account to be able to fill out a support ticket.
Yeah. Also, if you wanted to get an extended warranty, you would need a Synology account for that. But I mean, you can have your device like offline, right? If you want to go live off the grid, in the mountains somewhere, right? And
your data.
And you don't want us to have any of your information, you don't have to do that, right? You can what's called air gap it, right? And just keep it separate from the rest of the world. So you do have sort of the option there.
Good news for all of our spies out there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. One thing you could do as well in your Synology account is if you go into your control panel, you'll be able to back up some of your DSM configurations to your Synology account. So when you log into like a new unit, it can kind of configure it how you set up a previous unit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you can do that locally as well, right? So I think the question is mostly asking, hey, you know, how much information do I have to give you as Synology? And the answer is not really almost anything. Or you really, like I said, don't have to create an account. You know, yeah, if you want quick connect, if you want some of these like nice to have features, there's some things where it would make sense to create an account. But if you want to just have it offline, you're good.
I like having it because I ran into a situation when I was setting up a box for a friend and we couldn't get the local discovery to catch for whatever reason. This is normally something to do with his network. Because I had the Synology account, I was able to attach it, set it up, like you said, using a different device profile, set it up, and then disconnect it, and then go back to basically it was going to be an air-gapped version because it's for high-level client work. And that just made life easier. If we didn't have that, it would have been a whole lot of SSH and a bunch of nerdery to go in and set it up. And I know how to do it. I don't want to do it. The whole point of doing this Synology is to do things the easy way, right? So you kind of want to eliminate some of the hassle. If that kind of stuff freaks you out, all you do is you go and you make an email account specifically for those things and don't do anything else with it. That's the easy way to do it without like without what's it called? Nerfing, without nerfing your device because you don't want to be connected to you somewhere. There's tons of anonymous. Okay, good words today. There's tons of email accounts that you can set up that have nothing to do with you.
For sure. One of the things I want to talk about, I think, so we should go back to notifications, but before
let's do that.
Before that, Christian mentioned update. So can we go into update and restore? Because that shows backing up a lot of your settings, right? You can go to configuration backup up there. And so that's one of the things where you can back it up locally, right? Once again, off grid, you can do whatever you want. And you can just save it to a file that you store on your computer. But if you've got a Synology account, right, you can set it up where you are automatically backing it up and keeping that configuration stored up on your Synology account. And we just, do that free of charge.
It says back up your configurations, and mine was automatically backed up at 8:24 a.m. this morning.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So like we know we're good. That
Safe.
was legit like 5 minutes ago. Is backed up. So like, really don't. I love that you don't have to worry about sort of sweating the small stuff in that particular case. Mike, I'm gonna get your question in a quick second. Hold on. This is your notification tab, and this is brilliant to me because you can have it set up to send an email, and like it gives you like warnings or critical, or you can just do sort of default things like that, and then you can set up your email address. Mine's all set up. It's going to go there. But you get basic warnings to your box. For one of my client boxes, I had this set up and I had to go and tell them to shut up because they have like 20 people working on theirs, and it would be like, Dave moved the file. Oh, Kristen moved the file. I'm like, yeah, they're working. Shut up. Leave me alone. So make sure you set the level to critical or warning and not just like the default, because depending on what you do, it will tell you everything.
And you can customize it. So if you go into rules up at the top here, the rules tab. Actually, you know what? Events is what I'm thinking of. We recently changed the UI for this. This will show you every individual package that you have. You can go in here and you can. Will it let you expand that right now or? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You can see all these individual things where it's like, hey, within Hyper Backup, if this thing happens, if that thing happens, if whatever else happens, you can say, hey, I want to get an email, or I want to get a text message, or I want to get a push notification for certain specific things, but not other things, right? And it looks like, this is showing critical warning info, right? So this type of stuff, right? You don't want to be getting these info emails, or you're just going to ignore all of them.
Yes.
So, okay, we changed this up a little bit. It used to be that there were a bunch of check marks on which ones you wanted to get and which ones you didn't. It's really actually pretty cool that under email, you can select, hey, I want to get these types of messages. Exactly.
That's awesome.
Well, because then you set up you can set up a folder in your Google or make it come to the inbox. So if it was something really critical, like I actually pricked on completed, but let's just say I had it set up for backup failed, I could be like, yo, look at me. Because, like something that only I would know. And then that way, when you see it, or like I don't even know. Let me try this real quick. Let's slap in an emoji, you know, and then if you can, now I can tell that's a real thing. My backup failed. I better get that straightened out, kind of thing. So that is super cool. All right, thanks for teaching that today. Don't say that. Do not.
Well, I have a quick question, not to dart in front of Michael, but I'm gonna dart in front of Michael.
It's your show. Sorry,
it's
Michael.
My show. It's my show. Sorry, Michael.
See, they say Canadians are nice. She's American now. All bets are off.
I know, yeah. All bets are off now. So I'm planning on moving the Synology device home from the office after this episode, so I can finish setting everything up, and then likely we'll get another one here for this space. So how do I safely do that? Because I know if I just unplug it, that would be bad. So what's the best way to power it down? Like, how do I power it down to make sure that I'm safely transferring it from one location to another?
What you can do, there's in the top right corner, you can click on that person icon. You can just safely shut it down right there.
Oh, perfect. Okay, easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
So,
sorry, Michael. Thank you.
the other thing that I'll mention in relation to that, as far as moving the device, we recommend that you take out your hard drives before you actually go somewhere. If you leave the drives in there, you know, they're heavy enough that they, you know, if they're just sitting somewhere and they're spinning, everything's fine, right? But if it gets shaken around while the drives are in there, it has enough weight that it can actually it can potentially pull off the back plane. Exactly.
Yikes. Okay, so pull the drives out and then and safely get them back.
I know. I know the answer to this question, but I'm gonna play dumb. Does it matter what order you put them back in?
Oh,
that's a good question. It is best practice that you put them in the same order, but it's where you actually use software RAID, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think it's faster to get back up and running if you put it back in. If you put it in,
I was gonna say, I don't know if I'd remember.
Well, you only have two, so you're good. You can just label them 1, 2, or put one sticker on one and leave the other one off.
All right, deal.
It will rebuild itself, but it will take hours. So it's actually pretty cool. Okay, Michael, I will not let Katie cut in line any longer.
It's the Michael show now.
I was referring to like the 870 Evo. Can I have that running alongside the 12 TB? So this is actually a good question. Like, what I would do is rock the 212s, so you have your full setup working and sort of backed up, and then in the cache block, you can put in the Evo, and you can set it up as either a read-write cache, or you can set it up as a volume. If you set it up as a volume, it won't have redundancy, but it will have speed.
Yeah, well,
I think I said that right.
There are two slots though as well. So you could get redundancy, right? You could set it up in RAID 1 in the SSD slots. Now, I do want to mention we do have a hardware compatibility list on the website.
Look for it right now.
Yeah, so whichever device.
It's actually really helpful. It has like a lot of very detailed charts and comparisons, and
it's really what we're showing on our compatibility list. And what you can do is you can go to the device that you want. So it's, you know, for you, I think it was the 1522 Plus. DS 1522 Plus, I should say. And you, in the top right corner of that screen, you're going even into the compatible accessories and everything like that. But you can see, for what we have at the moment, what we have verified is just the Synology SSDs. We have our own M.2 SSDs. So I'd recommend those. That's not to say that other ones won't work. They just haven't necessarily been verified by us to work.
Yes, and you will find out on some of them, for instance, I won't give you any bad habits. On some of the brands, they will, even though they're highly talked about online through all of the people who have set up Synologies, one of the brand's names ride with his fate. They show up as critical warning all the time. And I don't think it's worth what you think you're saving to have a critical warning always, because what that means is when an actual critical warning happens, you'll most likely ignore it because
really good point.
The She-Fate drives have been telling you this critical every day. It's the boy who cried wolf situation. So I did that for one of my buddies because that's what he wanted. And I told him this. And now he's like, I wish I had listened to you because I don't know when it's an actual problem. and I don't want to keep bugging you, asking you if something's wrong, but it's because those, let's see, aluminum dog drives constantly tell him that there's something wrong when there's not, and he's in the middle of a highfalutin project with like Hawaiian Airlines or something. So you know what I mean? Like that's a very scary thing. So yeah, you'll save some money, but is it really worth it? No. It's better to just get the real deals. And the other advantage is there's a difference. This is a little nerdy. Let me see if I can explain this in the most non-nerdy way possible. I'm gonna pull out a drive. It ain't doing nothing. Okay, this is an old school, like sitting on the table, Western Digital 1 terabyte. This is a Western Digital Caviar Black. Do you see something that says Western Digital Reds, and you'll see like blues and golds and all these other words? These drives, unless they say DC, are not data center drives. So they're not designed to sit right next to a twin and vibrate all day and counteract the vibration.
Gotcha.
They're designed to run really, really quickly by their damn self. So if you buy if you buy a bunch of drives because they're cheap and they're fast, but they don't have helium inside or nitrogen or whatever the heck they put, I think it's helium. Because they don't have the helium inside, they don't have the bushings or bearings better. Cheap drives have bushings, real deal drives have bearings. And if you remember skateboarding, there's a huge difference. So what happened is they're vibrating next to each other and they will fail much quicker than a drive that is designed to handle the vibration.
Absolutely.
So data center drives, aka just buy the Synology drives, stop being cheap.
So there's let me piggyback on that and say, like you said, desktop class drives, they're meant to run 8 hours a day, not 24/7, right? Same idea, and same thing with all the vibration and everything like that. So there's other classes of drives. NAS class drives, right, are meant to run 24/7, up to 8 drives per chassis, right? And then once you get up to enterprise class or enterprise NAS class drives, those are the ones that you can put, in 12 drive bay units or above, and those are going to be primo.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you have to learn the hard way. I built in the beginning when I was just building these for other people. I always used those metallic dog drives because that's what the internet said, and I found myself replacing them on my dime for clients because I told them that it was going to come with this great warranty, and it Seagate. I'm sorry, the other brand lied. They did not honor the warranty because we didn't expect you to put it in a Synology. We thought you were going to put it in a desktop chassis, and I'm like, bitch, it said that these are NAS drives. Synology is a NAS. No, but they're different. Okay, so they wouldn't even honor the warranty because I confessed that they were in a Synology. So just buy Synology drives. And I won't mention that they're made by another company who we all know.
For sure. We got another question here from Mark talking about SFP Plus. I always love seeing stuff.
Nerds in our crew. What's up?
It's great.
Yeah, Mark's on his game.
Yeah. So here's what I'll mention as far as SFP Plus. For those of you who don't know, it's basically fiber, right? It's a fiber connection. So honestly, typically that's used in like data center level setups, right? It's typically lower latency and everything like that. But yeah, what I would recommend for that, we don't have any small devices with SFP Plus connections by default. If you get a device like Dock, right, you get one of our 8 bays that has a PCI Express expansion slot. You can put a network card in there that supports SFP Plus 10 gigabit, and you can kind of run it that way. But yeah, we're not, as far as I'm aware, we don't have any plans for smaller devices that come with SFP Plus by default.
Well, and the reason that too, Michael, is the data converter. The data converter is going to set you back $100, media converter rather, and that freaks out muggles. Like they don't want to know that they bought a drive and they got to go buy the SFP to RJ45. I have 3 of them sitting right here in front of me, but Yeah, that's how I have mine connected. But yeah, most people that just bugs them out. Like you got to buy this extra stuff. So.
Yep, and don't forget to check the compatibility list because that will let you know if the unit you're looking at purchasing or currently have does support a SFP network card.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
but
yes.
for the vast majority of people, you know, RJ45, which is just your standard Ethernet cable, right? Normal internet cable. That's going to treat everybody just fine, right? If you get 10 gigabit of Ethernet versus 10 gigabit SFP plus, most people absolutely not going to be able to tell the difference between the two.
And Doc, yeah, let's check out the other compatibility list. It's a little bit easier to read. So if we go to products, and then we actually find your unit.
So we could go go into tower servers here, and then let's just open up the DS1522 Plus for Michael.
Yep. So then click that compatibility list there, kind of near the
top right.
Yeah, right above the unit. And now you can filter through which category. So if you click on like network card, for example, network interface cards, click the search button, it'll show you everything that would be compatible.
Oh,
This
cool.
is exactly the card I have in
That's
mind.
great.
Yep. So the Mini, it does not look like the SFP card would be
Yes.
compatible in the unit.
Exactly
But
right. So this
this one
doesn't have a
supports that.
PCI Express. That's why this only has the one card that's available, because it's a little mini one port 10 gigabit for this device, right? Like I said, you have to get into the higher end, you know, the 8 bay type of device in order to have like a PCI Express slot that you can put a full sized PCI Express card into. There you go. Yeah, Doc's going to show us the 1821 Plus that he's got.
Yeah,
a
more
little bit
options there.
more flexible options. And I'll give you a little
see it
pro
says
tip.
SFP right there, or SFP
Yep.
Plus right there.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
SFP Plus,
Yeah.
SFP 28. Pro tip, we recently added this to our website, but it says Synology there. If you did want to see third-party options, you can click on where it says Synology, and you can look at third-party
third-party.
network cards
cool.
and things like that. We want to show you our stuff that we verified, first party first, but you can absolutely see other things that we verified too.
See, and that's actually
That's
pretty
awesome.
smart, because it's like, you know, that other people are going to do this stuff, right? You know what I mean? And then so see these right here. This is actually what I have in my drive. I have UltraStar DC for data centers, right? They're in there. This is what I have in, but they only verify it up to the 12s, right? And then so that's what I got in my machine. Like they go by and they tell you, and it makes a difference, because sometimes you'll see some of these other drives and people will say that they work, but if it's not on here, you can run into problems. And yeah, you just don't, it's not worth it, man. You went through all of this time to build all of this, and you saving like $50 somewhere. That's pretty silly.
Yeah.
So I love this show. Super good, man.
And then while we're on this compatibility list, let's go back to the DS 1522 to kind of answer some of Michael's questions now.
Okay, 15. I should just type it in.
You can start typing. Yeah, you can start typing
Yeah.
DS15
you know what
and
it
it'll
is.
pop up. There you go.
And then let's select the NVMe. So it would be the M2, yep, via the internal slot. So when it comes to NVMe, the highest compatible M.2 NVMe we have would be at 800 gig. So that's a little bit different. The M.2 slots are on the bottom of the unit. They should be on the bottom of the unit. But if you're looking at getting like 2 terabytes of cache, you can throw in SSDs in your drive bay and configure those as cache. But that's a little different than the M.2 NVMe SSD cache.
Nice. Yeah, I think
Awesome.
with enough, like I think with enough memory added and with the network card, you'll be good to go. What I found, Michael, though, here's exactly what I do. Now, I went through all of this work to set my thing up so that I can edit directly off the Synology, and it completely works. I find more often than not, what I end up doing is editing off the computer itself, and then through a combination of Hazel or rsync, I move the project files over to the Synology at night, right?
Yeah.
And then once I'm
makes
done with
sense.
that project, I know I can just delete it from my computer because I know it has been properly moved over to the Synology. So I might work on a project in Final Cut and it gets to like 400 gigs in size. And as soon as that project is done, I wait the next day. I know for a fact that it's going to get moved over to the Synology, and then I just go and delete it. And then if I need it back, I'll truck it back. Because I have the 10 gig network, trucking back a 500 gig project takes no time. It shoots right back across, and I can work on it there. I found that workflow just to be better because although it works, sometimes Final Cut is a pain in the butt, and it's not the Synology's fault, it's Final Cut's fault. DaVinci works better at this, and so does Premiere, and that kind of chaps my nads because I'm a hardcore Final Cut guy. But yeah,
I got two more things for Michael to keep in mind. So one of the things might be able to save you a little bit of money, Michael. There is something that we call our SSD Cache Advisor. All right.
Oh, okay.
So what you can do is you can get the DS1522 Plus. You can get your two 12 terabyte drives. You can set that up, and you can just start working, right? So it's not going to be necessarily as fast as it would have been with the, with the SSDs in there, but you can start working. You can run this SSD Cache Advisor, and it'll let you know how much of your data is hot data that you're using all the time, warm data that you're using some of the time, cold data that you're not really using at all, and archive data that you haven't used since you put it on the device. And then based on that, you can size your SSDs, right? And you can say, all right, I only need 400 gigabytes, or I only need 800 gigabytes worth of SSD space, and save a little bit of cash, not having to buy a bigger one than you really needed.
So that's one of the
things.
In Control Panel? Package Manager?
You know what? I forget where SSD Cache Advisor
should be in Storage Manager. So if we go into Storage Manager there at the top, next to Resource Monitor, next to that magnifying glass.
There it is.
Yeah, so if we go to Storage.
What are you complaining about?
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's not good. A good thing we were here. I got drives that are mad. I didn't even notice that. Okay, good. Anyway.
Click on that storage right below the overview. And then at the top, you'll see the SSD Cache Advisor right there.
There you go. And just tell it to
So you'll just run that. Just calculates in the background for a little bit of time. And then exactly what Dave was saying, figures out all the different data that you got.
Oh, cool.
That's super helpful.
Cool. I'm going to stop messing with this until I go and check my
Dave.
drives. It's probably just a smart thing, just tripping. Oh, why'd Dave hang up on us?
Oh, Dave's back.
Oh, I got kicked. Oh, no.
We threw him out.
I'm back.
That's super funny. I got kicked. Oh, yeah, so I'm definitely going to go check my drives now. I don't know why I said that.
No joke. It's been, the fact that this stream is held up is actually kind of impressive because it's been weird weather all over the place.
Man, the weather has been tripping, and again, everything looks fine. Like, I'm not losing any data yet, but just knowing that what the devices have been through the last, week or two with all these blackouts and just mad craziness, it's kind of funny. Oh yeah, for those of you guys who remember, we were messing around and I had forgot to plug in my SSD. If I look for, I always have a hard time remembering these things. Hardware and power, bam, bam, bam. UPS, look, it's set up now. Yay! So it will automatically turn back on. The one thing that I just realized too, on my network card, my 10 gig card does not allow for Wake on LAN. Only one of these guys. So I have to go plug in one of these. So what I'm going to do, because I don't want to make a trouble, I'm going to go build a VLAN that only talks to this, that doesn't do anything. It doesn't go anywhere. I'm just going to build a private VLAN for my Synology. That's nerd talk. Never mind.
a lot of times that's what people will do is you still got all of these 1 gigabit connections, right? Your 10 gigabit is for, that's your pipeline, right? Yes, but for the 1 gig, you can do that and you can log in and you can manage the device and sort of have admin access just through that. So that's good to have anyway.
Yeah, it's a nice setup. And believe it or not, this is super complicated, but if those of you who have the ability to do so, you can actually connect all of these together and you can build aggregation. It's not as fast as the 10 gig, not even close, but you can build up some speed by plugging all of these in And provided you have a switch and a little bit of know-how, tons of YouTube videos on the process, you can build these guys up so you can make them hyper quick, and it's a little bit better. But I didn't bother. I just went the gangster route.
Well, we're almost at the end of the hour. It looks like Mark has one question, but if you're sitting on any questions, get them in now so we can make sure we answer them before we jump off here. But Mark asks, any plans for higher than 12 terabyte for the Synology branded non-enterprise green colored HDD?
So officially, I don't think we can say anything.
No.
But you know, we'll see. We'll see. You know, in the next few months.
Awesome.
There you go.
Is that hopefully that satisfies that
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 was
answer.
one of those Apple answers. Good job, Dave.
That's a very sneaky no.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, you
Oh
know,
my goodness.
and again, these are perfect for what most of our guys are going to do. You don't have to go cycle
Yeah.
and buy enterprise level series. So
Yep.
Mark's question is actually pretty smart. And
Yeah.
you know what's funny is now they got drives that are up to 20 terabytes, but I found out the hard way, never run to what is the biggest and the most current, because they don't have enough spinning cycles to be properly graded for their durability. And whenever you hear people that lost data, they bought one of the new super big, super fast, and no test. Those are the Carol Yarboroughs crash test dummies of the hard drive world. So don't be a test dummy. Just
Don't be a test dummy.
Maybe the one size smaller or the two sizes smaller, because they normally have had 3 to 4 years worth of spin cycles in them, and you kind of can get an idea of how durable they are. And Backblaze puts out a list of drives because they use all the drives in the planet. And they put out a drive report every year of what's working, what's failing, you know, and so you can kind of go here and see, you know, what drives are doing well and what drives are doing bad. I would just say this is the category to pay attention to, the ones that start with the word toe. Those are important. And I won't explain any further than that. You figure it out your damn self.
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't see any other questions
David
coming through. Is there any?
by silence?
Yeah, they're bound by silence.
Wait,
Anything
wait,
else that we
wait.
missed that we should cover,
locked down.
Dave or Christian?
You know,
So,
I think, yeah, Dave?
Well, so all right. I wanted to revisit the 16 terabyte plus series question and say, Katie, you said that it sounded like a no. I'm just saying, you know, maybe in the next couple months something might happen. I can't say anything. I'm just saying. So I just wanted to get that out there.
I'll just keep my card over here to the side, waiting.
You should lock that
Just
sucker
to
in
see,
a closet
just to see.
somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, guys, everybody, I mean, again, you're totally send us emails. We can just, you know, pass it off, send it to Christian and Dave. I'm going to be continuing to talk this process because I think it's super important. I think everybody should be setting up and just be backed up. World Backup Day, believe it or not, is a thing, is the last day of March, if I remember correctly.
Oh, so we're going to be ready. We are going to be ready, team.
It's coming up. It's coming up soon. And just be backed up. Just know that sooner or later it's going to get you. And you just want to be the person to be like, haha, I'm ready for you. See? The last day of March every year. So
there we go. World
we
Backup Day.
are set up. We can have a revisit right before World Backup Day, so we can come and talk to you guys and just see how everybody's doing. Again, if you have questions, let us know. And I'm excited. I'm excited that Katie is backed up. I feel better.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm
and
bigger and better
don't forget to do this. This is important. I did it again. I fixed it. Go to your sync packages, and let me get this package center real quick. And then you want to go to Cloud Sync and open this. Make sure you have Box backed up to your drive.
Yeah, this is what I need to. These are the next couple of steps I need to do. So I did the initial like unboxing and setup, but now I need to do all of the syncing and connecting and organization stuff. So I'm
Actually,
excited.
for our stuff, you need Box and Google Drive. So set both of those
I know.
up. You don't need OneDrive. You don't have a PC. But
No.
yeah, set those two up.
I don't believe in OneDrive. I need Box and Google Drive and iCloud. I need to move some of my iCloud stuff over. So yeah.
And then people who have Dropbox works there too. I'm just super anti Dropbox because they
same.
look like a sieve.
Yeah.
That's just
yeah. Oh, look, Paul
this
says
is
his
so
Synology purchase was one of the best things. My Synology was one of the best purchases I have made. Yeah, look at that.
Love to
See, you
hear
gotta
it.
trust Paul.
Paul, we're here for you. If you ever need anything, let us know.
That makes me happy,
Doc
Paul,
said.
because that means you listened to me once. Yo, this
Oh
is
my
super
goodness.
cool. I'm gonna go figure out why my drives are screaming at me. I'm sure it's probably something stupid. I'll
Yeah,
probably
let
just
us know,
reboot it
Doc.
and then it go away.
Well, thank you to both of you. I'm sad that this is the end of our weekly meetups. We're gonna have to trick you into coming back on sometime in the next little bit so we can do an update. But really
Yeah, it was a
appreciate it.
brilliant- it was a
So
brilliant
much helpful
series.
info. Yeah.
I really liked it, and I mean, you guys are just a fountain of knowledge. I learned things, and I've been using Synology forever, and I still learn some things.
Yeah.
Like I never even thought about the cache analyzer. I didn't really. I have always had my auto backups turned on. I just didn't realize that I could pull it down from Synology.com, and even the third-party compatibility list. Like I kind of think I might have looked at it before, but completely forgot about it. So super dope, super dope.
Well, I had a great time. I had a great time, joining every week. I feel like next Wednesday I'm going to feel like there's something missing.
You're like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing right now? Yeah, exactly. Well, you're always welcome to come back. Oh, there you go. Look at, I love it.
People like we're gonna have to drag Christian to camp so that we can get him set up. All right, if you guys know what it is, people. Please, in the comment section or any other videos, please send us some feedback so we can send it to Dave and Christian so they can send it to their bosses, their versions of Katie. If you have any questions for us, by all means, please drop that in and we'll do our best to get an answer for you. Really appreciate you guys for coming through, Dave and Christian. This was freaking super amazing. And we'll see what you guys are cooking up next. We'll be back to announce 16 terabyte drives at one point sometime, maybe.
Maybe, not at all though.
I got one last thing for everybody, which is if you want to learn more, if you want to figure out more, we do have our Synology partner online training spot videos. Check them out. There's sort of customized topics, and it just dives into the details of specific things. Once again, spot Synology partner online trainings. Check those out. They're on the website. Always love people getting more knowledge about what they can do.
Yeah.
Yep, and our YouTube channel. They're all there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just put it there. That playlist that I dropped in the comments, that is the link to all of these videos. That's not Christian, by the way. They have the same jacket, but it's not him.
Don't be tricked. That's not Christian.
That is imposter Christian. So no, just make sure that I get. Yeah, if you need anything, by all means, let us know. This was so much fun, guys. I absolutely appreciated every second of this. I'm going to batten down the hatches before the next storm rolls in.
Yeah, stay safe,
Katie,
everyone.
have fun playing in the snow.
I will.
So
it's almost gone. It's been rainy.
So jealous. It looks amazing.
Oh.
Did you guys build a snowman yet?
I can't, it's been raining all day. We're like down to almost no snow, and then it's gonna get cold. We're in weird weather mode.
Weird weather, Massachusetts. Go figure. All right, gang.
Mm-hmm.
Mahalo nui. We will see you guys soon. Aloha.